Hello again, everybody. So this is my game, Passball. So the basic idea of Passball is a little complicated. If you haven't heard it before, it's basically like a parkour movement system. If you know the game Titanfall, it's like that. There's like wall running, sliding, a lot of different moves to get to the environment. It's going to have match-based multiplayer. It's going to basically be focused as like a sport around this ball called the Passball as of now. And it's basically an explosive hot potato. So if you hold the ball for too long, it will explode. So the idea is you have to pass the ball around to be able to get it to the enemy's goal and score. To stop other players who have the ball from getting to the goal, you're equipped with tools to chase your foes and chase them down. Your levels and mechanics would emphasize your player movement because that's really important, the parkour movement. And hopefully this would all culminate in leading to high octane phonetic gameplay with intense chases. The match gameplay loop. We'd have teams of 2 to 5. Really have to play test it to find out what's the sweet spot. The main objective is to score points by ferrying the ball into the enemy's goal. The pass ball has a short timer. I set it around now to be about 10 seconds. We would play test it to see if that's a good time. We'll see. When it hits 0, it explodes and then respawns at one of the designated spawning locations about 3 to 5 seconds later. The pass ball is always visible to every player, and the person holding the pass ball is always visible to every player. Teammates are also visible like X-ray vision through walls and stuff, so you can keep track of where you need to go in a level that's like kind of like buildings stacked on top of each other to add for that. It gives you the ability to have that parkour movement, but also still be able to know where to go in the game. Players will need to use teamwork and pass the ball to successfully score those points, as I mentioned earlier. Levels could contain things like speed boost pads, as you can see, like this launch pad here. This guy's going to get like, if the thing restarts here, he's going to get launched all the way over to this other dude. We could add that. We have weapons, ammo, and health pickups. Hopefully all these different pickups and places to go would incentivize players to use different routes. There wouldn't just be one like primary route that's the best route, because, you know, we're not master level designers here. We're not going to make the best level going out. There's probably going to be 1 or 2 points that are like cheesable, and this would hopefully reduce that. And the win condition for a match would be first team to reach a winning score or the highest score after the match is over. I'm really up to change that. I don't really care either way. Player abilities, I've kind of gone over this a little bit, but we have parkour movement. These are things that I have at the moment. We have wall running, limited climb, some vaulting over like you know, knee height stuff, ledge hanging, sliding, sprinting, etc. I would want it to build speed the longer you go without running into it, without like failing an obstacle. Like if you run into like a bar or something, and you need to like slide under it, right? If you hit the bar, you would like slow down. You wouldn't stop completely. And then we would also want the player to be able to dash forwards. And then everybody would have a short loadout, which we would have other weapons we've talked about since then. But at the moment, these are like the basic ones we've been working on, and we're probably going to have in our minimum viable product. There's a stun gun that shoots little laser bolts that'll slow people down. Stun grenades, which are effectively the same as a stun gun, but it's instantaneous. If you get caught in it, you're like stuck in mud, quicksand, you can't really move at all until it's gone. And then a melee attack that you could use to knock enemies back and also steal the ball from them if you get up close. Here's some art direction ideas. So we got some ideas for the pass ball. This is from Prey, the recycler grenade. Got some level design ideas. I like this idea of like sort of a junky aesthetic, but it's got like, you know, stacked containers, that sort of thing. Here's some weapons ideas and robot characters, sort of a sci-fi feel to it. So here's what we have so far. This is our current progress. So I have the networked ball. So you'll see here that it's passing this ball, and then you can see on each screen, the ball is getting sent to whoever it was passed to. This just seems very simple and like, oh, wow, you're passing the ball. This took me an entire weekend. Then we also have the parkour movement, which you can see down here, a little bit blocked, but you kind of get the idea. I can wall run, I can slide, I can vault over short ledges. And then over here, we have some beginner VFX work by our other team member that I don't know if he's here tonight. It's a stun grenade starter effect. All right, so moving on, we have our challenges and scope for the project. So our main challenge, as I just mentioned, it took me that whole weekend to do this, but networking our code, implementing multiplayer into it. Now, whenever I did it basically working backwards from code that already worked in single player, and that makes it a lot harder. If we do it from the outside, it's a lot easier. So hopefully this will not be as hard as taking a whole weekend to do something so simple, but it'll still be a challenge. The second is game feel. So we would want the feel to be very smooth, not very arresty, keep the player able to keep moving and not get stuck anywhere, because that would just kind of rip you out of the game experience. That's going to be hard to get right, and we'll just try to do the best we can, polish as much as we can, but we'll see where we get to. Parkour movement code needs to be remade in C++ for networking. Limiting scope to only what's needed for one match will hopefully make it easier to actually reach our minimum viable products. And then working in Unreal may be challenging for those new to it. It's a lot more of a sophisticated engine than Unity. So for people that are new to game development as a whole, probably not recommended for your first project to do this, but if you feel spunky and you want to go for it, let me know. I'm always happy to have more people. All right, so here are our goals for the project. So we have our minimum viable product of an alpha stage for all our basic mechanics, an alpha stage for all of our art. For those who don't know exactly what alpha stage is, it's just like the very bare bones basic prototype of everything. It works. There's some bugs, but it's not like you can't play it. You can still play it. It doesn't have to also be like very pretty. It can be kind of ugly. We don't want functional multiplayer. We'd want the elements to have one map, a level, and then have a match that's playable with at least 2 to 4 online players. Some stretch goals would be additional weapons that you could pick up, better art, more polished mechanics, control scheme customization if you wanted to play with controller, be able to change your keybinds, and then just extra polish on top of everything if we have the time for it. And then the last is development team and milestones. So we are looking for programmers who are willing to work in C++. That is what, I think this is dead now. That is what Unreal is coded in, so C++, that's what we're gonna need to use. So if you don't know C++ and are scared by it, might not be the project for you. If you are interested in coding in C++, I'd love to have you. 3D artists and animators. I am already a 3D artist, so I can technically, we already have 3D artist talent on the team, so it's not a necessity, but having extra would always help. And then a music or sound person would be great as well. And then our first milestone that we're going to try to hit with the project is get the network movement code that I mentioned earlier. Get that made, get a gray box level. So gray boxing is just the very basic shape of the level. You'll see an example there. And then just import a couple of animations from Mixamo, just get an animated character working. And that's it. All right, are there any questions? Yes.
So this is more of a design choice, how you want the game to feel, I guess. But since you have it in, like, you mentioned you wanted to be in very tight spaces, but you have the ability to see people through walls with a general idea of where they are, do you want that to be the only way they know, or do you want to put some sort of mini map that shows your teammates and the ball location?
I was thinking the mini map along with the X-ray. It'd basically be wherever you saw on the mini map would be what you would be able to see X-ray in the world. And it may be also proximity, but you wouldn't be able to see proximity X-ray. You'd be able to see, but like, an FPS, if someone's right up next to you, you can see them on the mini map. Well, it depends for the world. That can be done in engine or it can be done in 3D software. But for everything else, for our 3D software, we're using Blender.
Why specifically C++, not the Unreal blueprint system?
Because I tried to do a blueprint. It would be easier for everybody, but there's certain things in Unreal that you can only access through C++, like a lot of the networking code. I won't spend 20 minutes explaining it, but basically there's like functions that are locked off if you use blueprints only. And for this kind of project, the blueprints just is not going to work only. We can still do blueprints. We just also have the option of doing C++. All right, is that it? All right, thank you guys so much.